Trails of Cold Steel is mediocre. I've been avoiding this game for almost a week. I bought it last week on Tuesday after Labor Day when it came out. Actually, I remember going to like two GameStops because one didn't have it and the other one actually had it. So I had to go to one that actually had it. That was like a mile or 2 miles away from me. It was it was an annoying experience, but I thought, I'll get the game. It's gonna be worth it. It was not worth it. I talked in my last video, which will be linked down in the description below, about how Trails of Cold Steel, the first game, had a lot of potential. This game does not. It doesn't have the potential that it used to have. It does have potential, but it's from the last game. It doesn't build on what it already had. And I can see after playing the game for 6 hours that it's the same formula that was in the last game. And I'm going to hate it. It will take some time, some investment to actually to get a payoff. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all, because I spent 30 hours in Trails of Cold Steel, the last game, doing busy work, just grinding and doing field study task missions for 30 hours straight. I'm not about to do that again. I already wasted 6 hours already. I'm not about to do that again. And it's this, and I know that there's the argument that, oh, you haven't played the entire game. You can't give a review of a game that you haven't played yet. Well, if I fight Terry Crews, you already know before the fight starts that I will lose to Terry Crews because he's jacked AF and there's nothing I can do about it. I weigh 120 pounds. He probably weighs like 100. He probably weighs like close to 300, and he has like an 80% muscle mass or muscle percentage on his body. I'm going to lose that fight, just like how Trails of Cold Steel lost me in this game, or lost my affection for it. The story is different. The story, the story is about how Reen is trying to retake the Empire, so to speak. Again, I've only played 6 hours, so I really don't know what's going on, but I can infer what's going to happen. I know that Rain's probably going to try and save his sister. He's going to recruit his classmates, and it's going to have the option of you trying to find other people to find and recruit to your city of Ymir or something like that. On top of that, you're going to try and beat Crow, and then there's going to be some type of unseen evil that you need to overcome, because I already read the story on Wikipedia, and yada yada yada. It's going to be the same crap over and over and over again. It's going to be different stuff, I should say, not the same crap. It's going to be different stuff, but it's going to be riddled with the same crap. I talked about, again, in my last video in Trails of Cold Steel, or in my review of Trails of Cold Steel, the first one, how the field study tasks were very disappointing, and how they needed to be obliterated in the next game, in this game that I just played. They are alive and strong. They are. I remember I was like, when they were introduced, I literally thought, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense, right? So how the field study task missions are introduced in the game is that you go to the market town that you visited last game, and Reen is trying to look for his former classmates, and he knows that there are 3 in the market town that you were in the first game, right? So he finds Machias, and instead of just waiting in the base or in the windmill that Machias was held up in, or holed up in, excuse me, Reen says, you know what? I don't want to really wait around for Elliot and Fee to get back. Let's go back to town and see what's going on, right? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Because now I knew, as I was playing the game, I was like, I knew this is bullshit. So you go back to the town and you meet with the mayor or the leader of the town, kind of like the village elder in Final Fantasy and all of the Final Fantasy older games. And he says, "Oh, I have all of these tasks that the Bracer Guild could have done, and now I want you to do it." And now I'm getting a hint that this is the field study missions, and then it gives me the fucking animation or the information that says, "Hey, these are field study missions. You can do them all over again like you did in the first game." And I'm like, I, I had to turn off the game. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that some way, shape, or form that they had brought back one of the worst systems in the game in such a like the way that they bring it back though just shows how unnecessary of a system it is in the actual game. And it had me so frustrated when they brought it back because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. You don't need this. Just have the story progress. It's literally filler content right now. There's no reason for this to be in the story. And it is. It's prevalent. I have to look at my notes a little bit because I can't remember a lot of information on the top of my head about this, about some of the crap that's in this game, because I get frustrated and aggravated. The combat is the same. The combat is the same. It doesn't matter though, because that was one of the more redeeming factors about Trails of Cold Steel. It doesn't matter. New Game Plus, or the save data that you had from Trails of Cold Steel, the first one, is useless. Don't play the first one. If you intend to play the second one, don't play the first one. Just read what happens on Wikipedia, or maybe just read the story in the second game, because of the simple fact that instead of wasting 80 hours of your life, you now only have to waste maybe 10 to 20 reading all of the crap that happened in the first game. And really, unfortunately, there are some specific events that are mentioned in the second game, but again, it's like, it's still not worth putting in 80 hours. The reason why, and this has got to be the most disappointing thing about the game, because it really makes the first game kind of obsolete. All of the weapons and items and quartz, everything that you get in the first game, completely gone. Completely gone. I'm about to walk out because I can't believe that they would do that. It's so disrespectful because you don't have any of your items. You don't have anything else. Worst of all, you start 20 levels behind. You start at level 40. I was a level 60 when I beat the game. You start out, or I started out 20 levels behind, and I'm like, if people were like a level 80 or level 70, because there were people that beat the game, excuse me, that were like level 70s and 80s, if they had really just like, if they had to restart at level 40, half of what they were, I would be frustrated. But luckily, I'm not, because I didn't beat the game at level 70 and 80. But it's ridiculous, right? That you spend so much time getting all of these quartz and all of these arts and all of these weapons and items, and all of your money is gone too, right? So you spend all of this time in the game trying to get all this crap, and you have all this crap, and you need it now, but at the same time you don't need it because the game pads itself, unfortunately. But it's annoying to see all of your stuff just be taken away from. And even though all of the slots now are unlocked automatically, thank God, there's also progressions to the slots. So now instead of having these like really good quartz in different slots, like now the quartz are leveled, right? So depending on the level of quartz, you need a certain slot to be a level, right? Which is bullshit. It just makes the game unnecessarily longer, right? Again, this game, it had potential. That's the worst thing about it. It had potential, and it squandered it, right? There are characters that I would love to learn to figure out what genuinely happens to them, like Emma and Laura and and Gaius and Eustace. Like literally the four characters that I'm invested in. Besides Fee. Fee shows up, but she's kind of quiet and she really doesn't do anything else in the game. The four characters that I really wanted to learn about aren't in the first part of the game. It's all of the characters, besides Fee, of course, that I hated. Machias and Elliot. And it's like, and, oh god, Elisa. I have no idea where Elisa is. I completely forgot about her because she's super forgettable. I don't care about her. But you have the characters that I really cared about just in a completely other quadrant. And you have the characters that I don't care about in a quadrant that I'm in. And it's like, and the worst thing is that the game like laughably tries and gives you an option. It's like there are three places where people, or not people, but there are three places where former classmates are located in. And hang on, I just thought of something very interesting. Sorry, but there are three locations where your former classmates are, and the game's like, where should you go first? Or what was it? Toval told you or asked you, where should we go first? And I was like, Legram. That's Laura's hometown. Laura's one of the more interesting characters in the story. Laura's in Legram. I don't want to go over to the Market City. It's just boring. I don't want to do it. And Reen's like, well, this city's closest. Well, let's go to that city. And I'm like, I hate this fucker. I hate this fucker. But one thing that I just thought of, and I thought about what I was going to say before this, was that in the previous game, and obviously there are spoilers here, in the previous game, you and the rest of Class 7 go into the old schoolhouse and try and go into the depths and try and clear out each and every floor to see what's going on each floor and to try and explore it because the vice principal sends a bunch of kids into these life-threatening situations. I don't understand it either, but bear with me. So, in the second game, the at the bottom of the old schoolhouse was the Ashen Knight Valamir, and he can track the life signs of each of your different classmates, right? Each of the classmates that had helped you clear out the old schoolhouse. My question is, and this is a problem that I have with the game, and there are some plot points, but this is a very glaringly big one, is that why would you be able to detect, everyone besides Crow? Because Crow was one of the people that had helped you with clearing out the dungeons. So he's not detectable, even though in the last game he obviously helped you clear out the dungeons. That's all I have to say on just that really big plot hole. Now, final thoughts. I don't care about this game. When you don't care about a video game anymore, the video game becomes obsolete. It becomes unnecessary to play through. It becomes a workload, a hazard to your health. I'm not about to spend 80 hours of my life, a total of 160 hours of my life, 160 plus hours, of my life, trying to play and beat this game again. Because I feel like I'm playing the same game again. I'm not going to do it. It's a 5. It's mediocre at best. At worst, it's a 3 because it has potential, but it doesn't capitalize on the potential that the first game had set up. Unfortunately, I won't get to figure out what happens with some of these other characters, but on the bright side, I'll just play Persona 4 Golden, which is what the game's base roots are derivative from. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. I need to go do something destructive. I'll see you next time.